Good morning, class. I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but I'm downstairs reading an SOL test for the 11th graders, but I just could not miss telling you about Grammarville today, so here I am. So welcome to Grammarville, the happiest place on earth. It is home to Grammar Man. Grammar Man is our subject, and fragments are his nemesis. He likes complete sentences. So today we're just going to visit the village of object complements. So if you notice on your paper, if Grammar Man were to start traveling around Grammarville, he could only go down one or two streets. So today he's only going to travel down Action Avenue or action verbs. So if you're thinking about sentence structure, you think you have a subject and then a verb and then usually other stuff. Well, today we're going to talk about what that other stuff is. So if you look at how object complement village is set up, if Grammar Man is traveling down Action Avenue, he can only go in one house and one house only first. And that is direct object house. And direct objects answer who or what after the verb. So if he's in the direct object house, he could take, that little grassy path on over to indirect object house. And those answers to or for whom or to or for what after your direct object. So again, if we're thinking about the way a sentence looks, you usually have subject, then a verb, then a direct object. But if your sentence happens to have an indirect object, your indirect object comes in front of your direct object. And we'll do some sentences in a minute to show you that. So the other place that direct object, that Grammar Man can go after direct object house is he can go into objective complement house. So that's different than object complements. Objective complements, they rename or describe the DO. So that's it for today. We're going to deal with finding direct objects, indirect objects, and objective complements. So a couple of other things to think about are these three things are never found in prepositional phrases. And if you have an indirect object, you can't have an objective complement. If you have an objective complement, you can't have an indirect object. If you have a direct object, you might have neither an indirect object or an objective complement. And you don't even have to have a sentence with any complements. Are you totally confused yet? I hope not. Okay, so let's turn your paper over. Okay, and you have Grammar Man giving you some help here. So when you're marking up your sentences, you should mark your prepositional phrases. So after you mark those, you just set those aside and ignore them for now. Because subjects, verbs, and complements are never going to be inside your prepositional phrases. Find your verbs. Decide, are these action verbs? Are they linking verbs? So the action verbs is what we're dealing with now and today. So those are the easy ones. They show usually physical action, but sometimes they can show mental action. Like thinking, that's an action verb. Discovering, that's an action verb. Then we're going to find the subject. Always mark your subject. Then if you have an action verb, that's when you find a DO. And the next thing you do is you find an IO or an OC. You're not going to have both. Okay, so that's it for now. So then you're going to get out another one of your papers in just a second. Okay.